Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over your fifth winter forecast for the year of 2020 to 21. We're going to be going over how much snowfall you should be expecting with your snowfall anomaly forecast, as well as your temperature anomaly forecast, and also your precipitation anomaly forecast. And then we'll be looking at your overall forecast at the end of the video. So make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, just leave your county name or what state you live in, or what part of your state, or a town name, and I'll definitely give you a personalized individual forecast for your area. I just need some general location that I could get a detailed, accurate forecast for you guys based on all the data I have. And for this, I'm using mainly model forecasts, as well as some past analog years that look very similar to this fall, and I'm comparing them to how their winters played out. I'm also using the La Nina data that we have to forecast this, and also I'm just using a couple of other outside forecasts, such as NOAA's forecast, just generally looking at them and just evaluating what I think of them. Now, here would be the precipitation anomaly forecast. This is going from the first day of December to the last day of February, and we're dealing with slightly below normal conditions over portions in terms of precipitation. I think it'll be drier in these regions for portions of the coastal southeast, and then down through portions of the Gulf states and into parts of the central and southern plains, and then down through the extreme southwest over portions of southern New Mexico, southern Arizona, and much of California there. This is where I think it's going to be drier, except in these regions, this is where I think it's going to be the driest over these regions, where I think you'll really get into some of those very, very dry periods, and that's going to be right around California and southwestern Arizona, and then another region around the Gulf states and the coastal southeast. Now, over portions of the Northeast and the Ohio Valley, as well as the lower Great Lakes, I'm looking at slightly above normal precipitation for these regions, and then another area that swings down through the Northwest and then down into parts of Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming. That's where I'm expecting slightly above normal precipitation for these regions, and again, it's not going to be too noticeable within these regions. However, once you get into the darker greens over parts of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, as well as another region for southeast Michigan, parts of Indiana, and northwestern Ohio, I am expecting slightly above normal precipitation for these regions. Now, here's the temperature anomaly forecast, then we'll go into the snowfall forecast, and then we'll go into the overall forecast at the end of the video. Slightly above normal temperatures are expected over portions of the southwest, the south central, and into the coastal southeast. Anywhere in this yellow, I'm expecting slightly warmer than normal conditions, but as you get into this orange, this is where I'm expecting much warmer than normal conditions. So this would be your moderately above normal temperature region, and in this region, and this is for southern Florida, southern Texas, much of the southwest, and into parts of the coastal southwest. So for parts of California there, that's why I'm expecting some moderately above average temperatures. Now, here's in the blue region for parts of the Ohio Valley, parts of the Tennessee Valley, down through parts of the northern plains and into the parts of the Northwest and northern Rockies. This is where I'm expecting slightly below normal temperatures for these regions, and this is where I think it'll be generally cooler than normal. Notice that for parts of the Northeast, I'm excluding you guys from that colder than normal temperature region. That's mainly because I think December and late February will be warmer than normal. However, I think January and early February will be colder, so I think it'll really average out to near normal. You'll have about 1.5 months of both warm and cold conditions, but I do think it'll be much, much better than last winter for you guys. Moderately below average temperatures for portions of the northern Rockies, northern plains, and upper Great Lakes, where I'm expecting, again, moderately below normal temperatures. So this would be right around 2 to 4 degrees below normal for the entire winter averaged out. So I think it'll be rather chilly and quite persistent throughout these regions. And then as we add our final layer of below average for portions of Montana, the northern parts of the Dakotas, and then into parts of northern Minnesota, This is where I'm expecting well below normal temperatures for these regions, and this is where I think it'll be the coldest out of the entire continental United States when you look back and average all of the temperatures out for the winter. Now, here's the snowfall forecast, and notice that a lot of these areas further to the south don't see too much snowfall. So, if you are in below normal snowfall and you don't see snowfall, I think that really will just mean that you have a lower chance of seeing snowfall this year than you would any other year on average. So it can get quite confusing because some people don't really see any snowfall typically in a winter. So generally, if you are in any shaded region of slightly below normal, that just really lowers your chances of seeing snowfall this year. So that slightly below normal region goes from parts of the southeast down through the Gulf states and then into parts of the southern plains. The southwestern United States as well is included in that, and this is where I'm thinking you're going to get less snowfall than normal, and then right around the Gulf states and then back through the coastal southeast. Again, many of these areas don't see snowfall, but I think this is really just a very unlikely area to see snowfall. Of course, you can get a couple freak events where you get maybe a very cold plunge of air and it goes all the way down to the coast in parts of the southern plains and parts of the southeastern United States. Of course, you could get some snowfall. I'm just saying that it's most likely harder to get snowfall this year than it would in any other year, just because of the La Nina pattern that we will be in. Now, I'm expecting above normal snowfall for these regions, and that's going to be for parts of the northwest from Washington and Oregon, south and eastward into parts of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, and then another region there from the Ohio Valley and Tennessee valleys north and eastward into the interior northeast. This is where I'm expecting slightly above normal snowfall. Anywhere that's not highlighted in a region is expected to be near normal according to what I've been seeing. Now, here is the moderately above average snowfall region, and this includes parts of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, as well as another region for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, with a little portion of Pennsylvania and upstate New York there as well. Now, here's my personal overall forecast, and this is going to be giving you a general summation of what you should expect for this winter, and this is again going from December to February. Now, I'm expecting cool and wet conditions for portions of Washington and Oregon, as well as parts of southern Idaho there, and then I'm expecting more mountain snow for regions of the northern Rockies, where I think it'll be wetter than normal, and you really don't need, even though in some parts of these regions, for example, Utah, I do think you'll be warmer than normal. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see mountain snow, because in the winter it's pretty much always below 32 degrees or below freezing in parts of the Rockies, so you don't really need those colder than normal temperatures. All you need is some precipitation to move through, and you'll pretty much all the time see snowfall. And if you have above normal precipitation, of course it really means you're going to get more mountain snow, especially for the northern Rockies. But then as we get further to the south and to the west, I do think it'll be warmer and drier for parts of California and northwestern Nevada. And then as you get into this dark red area, this is where I'm expecting hot conditions for portions of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and a little bit of Colorado, New Mexico, and California. Now, this is relative to the time period that I'm talking about from December to February. It's not going to be in the triple digits for these regions. I know the last time I used this phrasing, people got upset because of course it's not going to be hot in the wintertime. What I'm referring to is it's going to be hot relative to this time of year that I'm referring to. So, for example, an 80-degree Fahrenheit temperature in the summer might be actually cool for some of these regions, while in the winter, an 80-degree Fahrenheit temperature might be actually warm and potentially hot for these type of regions. So I think it's just going to be warmer than normal generally for this dark red region. Less mountain snow for portions of the southern and central Rockies, because I think it'll be drier than normal in those regions. Clipper systems for portions of Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. This is where I'm expecting generally some clippers to move out of Alberta, Canada, and dip south and eastward into parts of the northern plains. And we saw that already for portions of the fall time, where you saw a lot of that happening, and I think that'll continue through the winter time. Now, I'm expecting frigid conditions through the northern plains and mainly for portions of the western Great Lakes. This is where I think it'll be the coldest area for the United States, and also that area in the northern plains that's in that other shading of blue. Both of those regions will be extremely cold and extremely snowy over this winter time period. Now, I'm expecting generally average conditions for portions of Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, and parts of Missouri. I don't think there will be too much going on within this region, and I think it'll be generally, I think it'll average out to near normal, because I think you'll have a good time period where you're below normal. I think you'll have a good time period where you're above normal, and I think you'll have a good time period where you're wet and dry as well. So overall, I think you'll be average in many of those fronts. Now, here would be the yellow region, which indicates back and forth conditions, so going from cold to warm, from dry to wet. So I think it'll be pretty much all over the place would be a good summation of this, where I think it'll be generally all over the place, and there's going to be a lot going on, and you're really not going to get into one defined pattern. Now, drier than normal conditions for portions of the Gulf states and also parts of the southeast there where I'm expecting, again, drier than normal conditions, not as much precipitation. The winter battle zone sets up for portions of North Carolina and Virginia, south and westward into parts of northern Alabama and Mississippi there. That's where I'm expecting your wintry mix area to really set up, where I think you'll get a lot of systems that dip down from the Midwest, go through parts of, I would say, Missouri and Kansas, and then dip back through parts of the northern southeast, I guess you could say, or parts of the mid-Atlantic, and then go through parts of the mid-Atlantic and out to sea. That's what I think a good storm track would be for this winter, and I think that's a very frequent storm track that we will see. The snow zone is for portions of Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Indiana, and also Ohio and Michigan. This is where I'm thinking, because of a La Nina, you usually typically see your snowiest winters within a La Nina for these regions. I think you guys will see quite a bit of snowfall for this winter. More lake effect snowfall for portions of the Great Lakes. This is where I think generally, because the lakes have been fairly warm over this fall, that typically creates more lake effect snowfall, and that usually would again create more lake effect snowfall, and of course I'm putting more lake effect snowfall in the forecast for these regions. And then the final area is going to be a cool/snowy January for portions of the Northeast, and I think that'll also extend into early February as well, where I think it'll be cold and snowy. It's really going to be a tale of two winters, where I think December will be extremely mild, and so will late February into early March, where I think you guys will see drier and warmer conditions for those time periods. But then as you get into January, I think it'll really chill down, and I think it'll really get quite snowy for these regions. Again, if you have any questions or comments, or you want a personalized forecast for your region, I'll be definitely giving them out in the comment section. Just write up a comment saying where you're from and whether or not you want a forecast, and I'll definitely give one to you guys, and I usually like to respond again within 30 minutes to an hour or so of you posting it. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.